Hello there, Trace Perot here. It's another episode of my week-long live videos about how I eat. Simple enough. Anyways, this one's called Leftover Rover. It's because I'm going to eat some leftovers, but I'm also going to make something new. So let's take a look at what I got. If I can get the camera switched. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about what I ate for breakfast during the day, all day. Okay, so I had 5 bananas in the morning. That's all I had left. That was the end of about 25 pounds of bananas I bought last Saturday. So I should have bought 27 or 28 pounds to make it through the 7 days. But no problem. So since I needed all those calories, right? 5 bananas is like 50 calories or less, 45 calories. I ate 2 or 3 papayas this morning. And then I got some dates, right? So you'll just see the bottom of the barrel there. That's what's left over from my dates. Those are Diglett Nord dates. They run like 8 to 10 calories per date, as opposed to medjool dates, you know, those real thick, super sweet ones that you get out in Palm Springs, or used to get out in Palm Springs anyways, where they started building golf courses. Those are about 60 to 70 calories per date. So I ate all these dates. These are Diglett Nords. These are the less dense in terms of calories. And I had some soaked raisins. I took these raisins and I soaked them in water, which helps to hydrate them again so they don't dehydrate you and make you thirsty. A pack like this, probably close to 800 calories, I would think. And I had like a pack and a half. And then just for the hell of it, I was eating long gons, right? Long gons have virtually no calories, maybe 1 calorie per long gone. They're so delicious though, really sweet. And I ate that with cucumbers. And, you know, I like these little mini cucumbers. You just gnaw on them. They're really good when you eat them with fruit. And I ate that also with the celery. So that's what I ate all day up until about 2 o'clock. And then I cut off all the sweet fruit. And that is a food combining thing. You need to wait 4 hours, because that's how long it takes high density sweet fruit to make it out of your system, out of your stomach. So if you eat before that and you eat something like carrots or hummus or corn, see if I can get this thing to turn around. Thank you very much. It's not cooperating. Or corn or something like that, you're going to have some major digestive issues. So, you know, on an average day, I cut off my sweet fruit at 10. I still keep eating apples and long gons and maybe some celery, cucumbers. But the sweet fruit's a no-go after like 2, okay? And that gives me 4 hours, and then I eat around 6 or 7 or 8, depending on what's going on. Sometimes I'll eat sweet fruit right up until 4 or 5 if I have something going on during the night. So this is all stuff that involves food combining, which can be a somewhat complex subject, but something that every person who eats like this needs to know about for sure. So anyways, tonight I'm going to eat what's left of my hummus there, and I'm just going to dip carrots in it, right? So this is that lovely hummus. It's been sitting in the refrigerator all day. And I'm going to probably stab some celery in there too. But I'm going to do a little quick corn dish. It's Friday. I don't feel like laboring over anything right now. And most of these meals I've made this week are pretty easy and pretty quick, with the exception of the sprouting of the garbanzo beans. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the very same ingredients, almost, the green onions, the celery, the jalapeno peppers. I don't have any garlic chives. I'm going to put that in with the corn. It's raw corn, organic raw corn, and I'm just going to eat it like that. So that plus the hummus, the carrots, the celery, the ingredients in the raw corn. I could make some hot sauce, but I'm just not into it. If I want to dice up some tomatoes and put that in the corn, that'll make it even more delicious. Okay, so yeah, that's all I'm going to do tonight. And what I did want to do, though, there's two things I wanted to do. Okay, let's get this set up. Let's turn it around and see if we can get a bead on this. It's not cooperating with me tonight. This technology, you know. Oh, there we go. You just got to operate the joystick, right? There's two things I wanted to look at. The first one was how to chop vegetables. It just amazes me. I see so many people on the internet and they're doing a recipe video and they have no idea how to chop a vegetable, right? What they're doing is that they're holding it with one hand, right? Can you see that? Maybe you have to go down a little bit. Whoop. So they're holding the vegetable, in this case celery, with one hand and they're going, right? You see how slow that is? Proper way, the quick way, the fast way, the chef's way to cut something like a vegetable is to curl your fingers like that and you rest the knife against your knuckle, right? So I'll show you how effective this is. Okay? So that's the way you actually chop vegetables, all types of vegetables, all types of fruit, anything that you want to knock out real quick. That's the way you do it. So enough of that. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was blood pressure. Okay, so blood pressure is an interesting thing. It's a very, very useful measuring tool about your health. Okay, it affects the level of your blood pressure affects a lot of stuff, and for the most part people have high blood pressure because their arteries are clogged and they have to pump more blood. They have to pump the same amount of blood through smaller arteries, which ups the pressure, the blood pressure in your body. Okay. The reason why their arteries are clogged is from animal products. Animal products are primarily fat, although they're touted to be primarily protein. That's totally untrue. There may be at best 50-50 fat and protein. So, and it's not plant fat, okay? It's animal fat, right? So you got to make a distinction here, right? So when you put a piece of chicken in a frying pan and you fry it up, what do you see in the pan surrounding the chicken? You see grease, okay? Well, when you eat that chicken, there's still lots of grease in that chicken, and that grease winds up in your arteries, and it collects in your arteries over years, causes coagulation, it causes, blocked arteries, narrowed arteries, which in turn elevates your blood pressure, which is dangerous for your heart. And heart disease is the #1 killer still in the United States. So I don't think people realize this. People go to the doctor. Oh, the doctor says, oh, you've got high blood pressure. Let me prescribe you some blood pressure medicine. What you need to do is cut down on the salt and start exercising a little bit more, right? You do those two things and that might bring your blood pressure around. But I'll give you this prescription and you'll take it for the rest of your life to keep your blood pressure normal. Well, if you're like me and you hate chemicals, you don't want anything to do with putting chemicals in your body, right? Totally unnatural with lots of side effects. That just doesn't work, okay? And I don't think I've ever heard of a doctor, and I've asked people, ever saying anything about diet when they went in and found out they had high blood pressure. the doctor, he may say, the only thing he'll probably mention is salt, right? He's not going to say anything else, right? So obviously doctors are very oriented towards making prescriptions, right? Because they want to make lots of money for the pharmaceutical industry. And the pharmaceutical industry basically are the ones that fund them. So anyways, I'm not going to get any further into that. I'm just going to say that it's basic. It's very basic. Unless you have some kind of chronic disease that could elevate your blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, it's due to the consumption of animal products, fat, okay? The fat that accumulates from everything, cheese, eggs, dairy, butter, steak, lobster, fish. Fish, contrary to popular belief, is very greasy. So anyways, I just wanted to make a note here. So let's look at the average blood pressure for a 20-year-old male in the United States. A good average blood pressure, a good normal blood pressure, or a good blood pressure is 119/70. A normal blood pressure is 125/80, okay? A younger man, a man younger than 20, like 18, they're at 110/70, okay? Then I looked up a normal blood pressure target for somebody 73 years old. I'm 73, right? And that's 130/80. Okay, so we're looking at 130/80 as opposed to 125/80 for a 20-year-old, or 119/70. Now, my average, because I write down every time I go to the dentist or something, right? Or maybe to the doctor because I have an infection that I need to deal with or something like that. You know, it doesn't happen. It rarely happens, maybe once in the last 2 years. My average, over 2 years, my blood pressure taken 18 times, my average is 112/69, okay? So let's look at that, 112. A good blood pressure for somebody 20 years old is 119/70. My average is 112/69. I'm 73 years old, okay? That's 53 years older than somebody who's 20. And it's assumed that the older you get, the worse your blood pressure gets, but it's not real, okay? The reason why blood pressure elevates in older people is because of what they eat. So I just wanted to make that point. My lowest reading is 105/60, that's way low. That's like a professional 18-year-old athlete, right? My highest was 121/81, which sort of corresponds with a normal level for a 20-year-old. So I like to give these, occasionally give a reason for why, a specific reason for why I eat this way and have been eating this way for 35 years. Because I think it helps people understand, you know. So that's that. So let's take one more look at this meal. Okay, so this is another what I call a starchy meal. Starchy vegetables, corn, chickpeas, carrots, okay? So any kind of starchy vegetable, that includes things like cabbage and broccoli and cauliflower. I could be eating all that, right? And it would be perfectly combined according to proper food combining principles. And what's important about food combining principles is that the exit time, which I mentioned previously, you know, the worse you combine your food, the longer the food stays in your system, toxifies and affects your organs and your blood and whatnot. The less energy you have, okay, and the more susceptible you are to chronic illness, right? So I would never, for instance, eat dates with garbanzo beans or with corn, or I would never eat raisins with carrots, okay? So that's just kind of the way it goes, you know. So yeah, you know, food combining, check it out. It's all over the internet. And, well, it isn't all over the internet. It's not really very well. In fact, a lot of very prominent vegan doctors don't know a thing about food combining, right? You know why? Because there's never been any studies done on food combining. It's something that came out of the natural health movement way back in the 50s, and there have never been any studies done on it. And so that's why even doctors who are vegan, primarily cooked vegan doctors, don't know anything about food combining, which is kind of interesting. Anyways, that's it for tonight, Friday night. Have a great weekend. I'm signing off, out of here. Got a few more days of this week to go. I'm not getting fancy with anything. I'm not making lasagna or corn tortillas and burritos and all that kind of stuff. This is run and gun. This is run and gun the way I eat. And this is the way I eat all the time. Anyways, adios.